All right. So, Mr. Trujillo, thank you for your time. Um, so let's start at the beginning. When and where were you born?
I was born in Isleta, actually.
Mhm.
My parents were from Sonali, my father and my mother, and the only nearest hospital was at Isleta, so that's where I was born
Good.
in 1946.
Do you live here in Sonoma right now?
I no, I don't. I moved out a
Okay.
number of years back.
How long did you live here in Sonoma?
Uh, from my very young age till about, let's see, my son was about, I would say till about, I was about 35, 36.
Um, could you tell me a little bit about your parents?
I don't know very little about my parents because he died when I was 5.5 years old, 6.
Mhm.
And my mother, when he died, um, my mother uh, let us go, my brother and myself, go with our grandparents, Antonio and Trujillo, and they brought us up, and we that's where we grew up, and I went to the Sonali grade school, and then from Sonali I went to Isleta High School, and I went for about a year and a half to UTEP. Then I went to the military.
Uh, who were your grandparents? What did they
My
do?
grandparents, Antonio Trujillo, he was a constable here in San Elizario,
Mhm.
and my grandmother was a housewife.
Okay. Uh, so could you tell me about your siblings? I know.
My brother,
Mhm.
okay, my brother, well, we're about an age difference, but we're about the same build. No, so uh, how can I say it? It's okay. My sister, Lilian, uh, she and her, my other sister, they went with my mother when my mother got remarried.
Mhm.
They went with her into military life with my mother's husband. They went to California and Fort Knox, Kentucky, and a couple other places.
So you and your brother stayed here with your grandmother?
Right. And then my mother had a boy and a girl with Victor, and Marianne with my stepfather.
Okay. So what? How would you describe your childhood? How did you get along with your siblings?
I
What did
got
you all
along
do?
pretty well for being, family fights though
Mhm.
was my brother Sylvie. But I only saw Lillian and Irene like once a year, maybe twice a year. So we didn't get to fight with them, or we didn't we didn't uh, get together that often.
Okay.
Uh, but other than that, everything was great.
Mhm. Did you go to church on Sundays, things like that?
I used to go to church every Sunday
What church did you go to?
right here.
Right here.
So Nelly.
Um, did you help around the house? What were you doing back then?
We would help my grandmother because she was kind of old, and then I would help my grandfather because he had a few acres, and we would farm up, and then we would uh, he would have calves and goats and sheep and horses and donkeys and stuff like that, and on the goats and sheep and calves we would slaughter and put it. We had a big freezer. We put the meat in the freezer. So that's just a whole year or whatever, how long it lasts. But I would help my grandfather slaughter. That was an experience in itself. When you get and you help your grand. He says to me one day, let's come here with me. So I went with him, and he says, here. And he got it was a lamb, and he says, hold his legs. So I'm holding his legs, right? And he says, "No, no, what is he doing?" So he says, "We're gonna get some meat." So he got a knife. He cut the lamb's throat. Lambs do not make any noise when they get slaughtered.
Really?
Goats make a lot of noise. Pigs and stuff like that. But I was holding the legs and I could feel it trembling, and that was an experience that I will never forget.
Yeah.
And you could feel the life going away on it.
That sounds powerful. Yeah. Uh, how long did you work with your grandfather?
With my grandfather, well, until I went to the military, he got really old. He was in his 80s when I came back from the military, so he, he wasn't farming anymore. He was just all he would do was sleep, and that's all he would do is sleep. And I think I'm following his footsteps.
How old were you when you went into service?
In the service, I was 18.
You were 18.
18. Also during the Vietnam War. I mean, I was going to UTEP and I was supposed to take a test in my calculus.
Mhm.
And I was having problems with calculus. And instead of going to take the test on calculus, I went and took a test on the Air Force entry examination. And I got accepted by the Air Force.
Could you tell me a little bit about your service?
Service, I went to San Antonio for basic training.
Mm-hmm.
I learned, I worked on communications, airborne communications equipment, which was the radios and intercoms and airplanes. And from there, I went to school there in San Antonio, basic San Antonio, and then from there they sent me to Kisler, Mississippi, where I went and they had electronic school over there. And then from there, I went to Holloman here in New Mexico, Alamogordo, and I stayed there for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then from there, they sent me to school in Tampa, Florida, to another kind of to work on radios for Air Force. And from there, it was only like 6 or 8 weeks at school. And then from there, I came back to New Mexico. And then from there, they sent me to Thailand, Ubon, Thailand. And I was there for a year. I worked on airplanes, on the radios on airplanes.
Yeah. So, what was your experience like when you came back here?
When I came back, I had a really stupid life because I like alcohol too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I drank and drank and drank. Also, before I went into the military, I worked for Felix Realty and Marquez, a little store here in Sonali. We used to work first year for the jail list. His store was there, and then he moved and made the store over there. They knocked the building down. We turned to this road. I worked there for about 6 years, and before that, I used to work with my uncle. He had the Pilar Grijalva. He had farmlands, and I would go with him and chop cotton and weed and stuff like that. And then I also went. Let's see what I forgot. I lost my track of conversation. I went into. What did I do? I worked with Felix, and when I came back from the military, I started opening Nacho's Place, the Rebote bar down there, for about. I worked 2 years. I worked a year for the people that own the bar, and then after that, I had the license to. I operated the bar for 2 years. It was a bad experience. I should have done something else. I should have gone to UTEP instead, but I didn't. And then what else did I do? I'm trying to think. Any questions?
Uh, yeah, you say that it was a bad experience.
Well, drinking, you become alcoholic, you drink a lot, and you don't take care of yourself. I should have been doing. I saw my friends, some of my friends, they went to UTEP and they got their degrees and they're already out. And they retired as teachers,
mhm.
superintendents, and meanwhile I worked. I worked at there, and then I went to work for uh, Jetco Electronics because of my experience in the military and electronics. And then from there, they closed up, and so then I went to work for Phelps Dodge for 2 years as a yard, switching cars, going to different buildings, picking up copper, taking it to being smelted. And then from there, I went. I went and worked with I had my wife's uncle had a company, and we did contract labor for George Thomas Homes. And we did the yard work on them, clean up the yards and level off the yards and things like that. We had a crew to do that. And then after that, I went into the city of El Paso, started working for the water utilities. And I got my, the good thing about like a city of El Paso, you can work your way up. And that's what I did. I worked, I had to study, got certified. I was one of the few people in El Paso at that time. I was one of, I think I was one of five that had the Class A wastewater uh, license in El Paso
Mhm.
at that time. And then I worked there for 20 years, got retired, and then I took care of my granddaughter and great granddaughter.
Okay. Well, going back a little bit, when you were younger and struggling with addiction, um, how did that impact your life here in San Elias and your
At
friendships, your
that time, everybody
relationships?
drank. Everybody drank. I mean, you could be drunk. You could drive on the roads drunker than a skunk, and nobody, the police will catch you and say, ah, go home.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? That's it. And then, I drink a lot, and I smoke a lot. I used to smoke 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day. And at that time, I was surprised I didn't die from cancer, but I did. And when I quit smoking and I quit drinking
Mm-hmm. When did you quit?
about 20 years ago, 25, maybe 30. I don't know. It's pretty close to that. I've been off for a long while.
Yeah.
And then I had my son. My worst experience was my son. My son went into the military. They sent him to Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this. I don't know if you read about the burn pits in Iraq.
Yes.
And he was telling us that he was in a helicopter going over a burn pit, and then the smoke went into the helicopter he was flying over, and everybody got it on their lungs. Anyway, uh, he came back and he was just had like a cold, constant cold, and eventually it got to him. When he died about I would say about 2 3 years after he came back, and he got really sick for about 2 months. That's the good thing about it. He only suffered for about a month and a half, 2 months. But when he died, his lungs, his liver, his what else is in there? Lungs, liver, all his organs. They went to crap. Kidneys. They all went to crap.
How old was he when he passed?
39.
39?
And I got really depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Really depressed. It took me a while to get over it.
Amen. Can you
Then
tell me?
my wife didn't get over it. She died 6 months later.
Oh, I was
And then my mother died a year after that. It was a really bad time for me.
Yeah.
And then I got diabetes. And supposedly that I wasn't since I was in Oman, Thailand. Uh, they had all kinds of chemicals over there, and I in the process of trying to get Agent Orange, something off Agent Orange. We'll see. I have an appointment next week. But it's just bad.
What years were this?
In Thailand
Well,
or in the US?
when your son passed and then
My son passed 2015.
in 2015.
2015. My wife passed in 2015. My mother passed in 2016.
Could you tell me a little more about your wife? How did you two meet?
Oh,
What was your marriage like?
I met her in a bar.
Mhm.
Her mother had a bar. and I would drink and collect. And I would go there, drink, and we meshed. We got together, and eventually we had kids. We had my son, and she already had a daughter, which I love my daughter, my stepdaughter. Then we had a son, and then we had two more daughters.
Mhm. So,
But she had diabetes, and she was really sick. She had all kinds of diseases also.
mhm. And what about your health? How has it developed?
No, the military, the VA gives me a whole bunch of pills. I take two handfuls of pills. I take a handful in the morning and a handful at night of pills they give me for diabetes, my heart, my you name it, cholesterol.
Yeah.
Uh, but I feel I feel fairly good, but I also feel like I'm getting there. I'm getting to that age because I'm 76 right now.
Mhm.
I'll be 77 pretty soon. Uh, I feel my age is slowly creeping up on me.
Okay. So you mentioned a little bit about Agent Orange in Thailand.
Yeah.
Um, what did you mean by that? Did that affect your health?
Well,
Or?
one of the effects of Agent Orange is it gives you diabetes.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know
It does. Plus other diseases, but
that. Mhm.
that's one of the diseases that that's what do you call it, latent, because you don't get it like right now and get it now. You slowly creeps up on you, and over the years, you start getting worse and worse and worse.
Right.
And then my son's death kind of excelled and made it go faster.
Mhm.
My depression.
So similar situations, right? Like in service, and then you come in contact with these chemicals.
Yeah, because we don't know what was there. I one of my things when I was in Thailand, we we worked on the airplanes, right? And we used to go to check on the radios for communications and install the radios and intercoms. And we be walking by, you see this F4s, and they had all this, looked like bombs on them. And we will see, and they'd be leaking something that says, "Hey man, that's one of my friends there, one of my coworkers. What what is that stuff there is dripping off on the bomb? Doesn't seem like it's safe." So, that's napalm.
Mm.
And I know at that time we had a magazine called Stars and Stripes when I was in the military in Southeast Asia. And I know I had just read about it where they had made it illegal in worldwide, napalm.
Yeah. Mm.
But we were still using it. So they had napalm, and I know they were flying all over Laos and Cambodia and Thailand, and they would bomb it with Agent Orange also. So I I don't know what they had. and you go by the airplanes, and they got all this bombs there and all these cans. And I don't know what they had in there,
Yeah.
but I know I got diabetes.
Yeah.
And before that, there was no diabetes in my family.
So you mentioned your friends in service and things like that. Would you tell me a little about friends during service and also here at home?
Well, at that time, when you were 60, like I said, I was supposed to when I was in basic training. I had been in basic training for about 2 weeks, and I got a notification from the United States Army saying that I had been drafted. I was already in the Air Force. I mean, it was that quick. You either were going to school, or you were in the military, or you had a 4F. You were disqualified because of something wrong with you, right? And so all of my friends, like, and most everybody from Sonelli, there was a lot of us from Sonelli that went to different services, Army, mostly Army, but there was Navy, Marines,
Mhm.
Air Force.
So the ones that came back to San Eli, did you get in contact with them? Do
Well,
you know
I
each
see
other?
him. I see him once in a while.
Mhm.
And we used to see him before, but what do you mean by contact?
Well, I mean, I know that there's certain like veteran groups that get together at times in cities and things like that. Is there a group here?
I'm a member of Veterans of Sonelli. I don't participate in the meetings, but I am a member.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, I have friends that I see. Like last week, we met. I've had my friends. We had a luncheon in Clint, and we had Shaba Pulido was there. He was in the army. Popeye Jose Parra, he was in the army, and Frank Soto, he was in the army, and Benji Sanchez, he was in the army. Almost everybody was in the army. Bunch of us. Abraham Grijalva, he was in the Navy. He got one of the few people that got drafted by the Navy. I had, there's only like a span like 6 months or something like that in 1966, I think it was, where people got drafted into the Navy, and he was one.
Yeah,
Very rare.
yeah. So have you talked to them about their experiences? Were they similar to yours?
We talked, but I was airborne radio Air Force,
Yeah,
and most of them were troopers. They're out there in the boonies.
yeah.
Like Raymond Borrego, he's in charge of the veterans here in Sanelli.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know him. I think you might have known
I
him.
haven't had
No,
to go.
he we we met, we talked. He worked at the VA for a while. And Benji Sanchez, well, he's there. He has the Boondocks there, or used to be the Boondocks. Uh, what else? Luis Rivera was also in there. And Sammy Pulido. Like I said, my other cousin, this one cousin I had, Abraham's brother, was David Rihalba. He came back. He came back. Wow, he got into contact with high stuff, with real heavy duty drugs. And his head was all screwed up when he came back. And he finally died young.
So you come back from service. You struggle with alcoholism. Um, what made you quit drinking and smoking?
My daughters.
Your daughter,
My daughters.
just at the moment they were born, or
No, there was one of the things I remember, and I tell them once in a while that that, that I remember that uh, we ran out of milk, and for to give my daughters, and they were like a year old or something like that, and I says, man, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money because I had just spent it on beer. I says, what the hell am I doing? Now I'm buying beer for me, and my daughters don't have milk. What they eat. So that was a big factor that made me stop drinking and smoking. Because I was spending a lot of money on cigarettes also. Because when I was in Thailand, when I came back from Thailand, cigarettes, you can buy a carton of cigarettes for $2. How much a pack of cigarettes costs now? Like
what?
$5. One pack.
Yeah,
There's 20 packs. There's 10 packs in a carton of cigarettes.
yeah, for $2.
For $2, that's a lot of difference. And I said, ah, man, this is crazy. So, and I, so that's one of the main reasons I stopped drinking and smoking.
Okay. How was the process of drinking? Was it hard for you?
It was very hard.
Did you have support, or
My drinking, uh, I had to stop drinking twice.
okay.
The first time I stopped drinking, I stopped drinking, and then maybe I started again about a year later, and then after that, I said, "Man, this isn't working out." So I stopped drinking the second time, and ever since then, I haven't drunk anymore. And people offer me, "Come on, you can have one beer, just drink one sip." I said, "Nope, that's what happened the first time."
Yeah.
Huh? They used to tell me, "Oh, come on, you can drink one." And I finally believed them. I drank one, and I was drunk for another 2 years or something like that. So, and cigarettes that was tough
Yeah.
because what I did is I bought they had like a tape, and I call it the brainwash you.
Mhm.
And I used to listen to it and listen how to stop smoking, and I followed it, and then I stopped smoking. And
Do you remember what the tape said?
bullet is said not to substitute cigarettes for something else for cigarettes.
Hmm.
And this is all you gotta do is just stop smoking a little bit at a time. Uh, it says the best way to do it, the one I remember the most is it would say, okay, you want to stop smoking, but what are you gonna do? It says, okay, when you say, okay, you smoked the last cigarette, says, okay, I'm not gonna smoke anymore. And then, but the urge gets to you, like you feel the nicotine wanting more. So then you would say, okay, it would tell you, say, I'm gonna smoke, but not right now. I'm gonna wait 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So look at the clock and you do 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes comes up and it says, well, can you do it another 5 minutes since you already did it for 5 minutes? And I did it a number of times. Usually the first couple of days, it would only last like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, 15. But it slowly started building up where I was smoking less and less.
Yeah.
And that was the way to do it. And there's a joke that goes around like that. I don't know, you're Hispanic, right? You don't
Yeah.
understand Spanish?
Mhm.
Well, this is in Spanish, okay? It says, oye, tú fumabas, ¿verdad? Sí. ¿Y cómo le hiciste para parar? Oh, pues fui con un señor y me dijo que cada vez que me dan ganas de fumar, me comieron un huevo. Y luego entonces, y sí, y le hiciste, sí. Y luego, dice, no, pues entonces la siguiente vez que me dan ganas, dices, doblabas los huevos, ¿verdad? Dos huevos, comía dos huevos. Dos huevos, ¿sí? Y luego, no, pues así se fue llevando tres huevos, cuatro huevos, cinco huevos, seis huevos, y así. Hijo, ¿esos son muchos huevos? Sí, son muchos huevos.
Yeah. Um, did you have a similar strategy when quitting the drinking?
No, I think one of the reasons I quit drinking was because I started getting sick.
Okay.
Uh, do you drink?
No. Well, just
A
occasionally.
little bit. Do you get hangovers?
Mm, sometimes.
Okay, my hangovers are beginning to be pretty bad.
Oh.
I had to put out the fire with a can of beer at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I would wake up with a big hangover where my stomach was killing me. And I would get a can of beer, preferably a wide open, wide mouth bottle of beer, and I would just suck that thing like it seemed like I would suck it down. One swallow, drink the whole beer, and it would get and that would put out the fire, my stomach, and then I says it was getting so bad that I would vomit blood or anything like that, but my stomach was feeling really bad. I was feeling miserable. So I says, why am I feeling like that? Why am I drinking if I feel this bad? So that's how I stopped slowing down. Eventually, I stopped because I started out with at one time there, 2 cycles. I used to drink whiskey, hard liquor, Mexican liquor, American liquor, wine. I mean, vodka, gin, all that stuff. And then later, I went into wine, especially those sparkling wines. I used to love those sparkling wines. And then I went to beer, and I got to a point where I could taste the difference in beer.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell the difference. Same beer, like Coors or Budweiser. I could tell the difference between a can of beer, a bottle of beer, a quart of beer, or tap. I could tell the difference just by tasting it.
Yeah.
And I consider myself like a connoisseur of beer. But then it started getting affecting my stomach.
Mhm. So, you stopped drinking because of your daughters. Did they grow up here in San Eli or?
My daughters, we had already moved to Slera. We moved in with my mother-in-law
Mhm.
and father-in-law. Uh, they were having a hard time, so we bought a trailer. We had a house trailer. We moved it to one of her aunts, but then we were like about 2 blocks away. So we would eventually we started staying over at her house, my mother-in-law's house, and then start supporting the house. You know. And eventually we moved in, and we had to always sold it, and we bought another house there on a Red there on off about 375
Mhm.
Navy.
So how was it raising your daughters without your wife?
But my wife, well, they were already
Okay.
old, not old, but they were already adults.
Mm-hmm.
But when my wife died, my wife died, like I said, it was in the 2015. And my daughters were born in 20. What was it? Let me think. I know when they were born, except I can't remember right now because I'm not thinking. 82 and 83. My son was born in 76.
Okay.
And my oldest stepdaughter was born in like in 80. I mean 70. And so they were kind of almost adults
Mm-hmm.
when my wife died. And we would see that she was really sick and she was getting really bad. She went through a bad period there last couple of months. She started getting all kinds of infections in her system.
Why
So
why did she get those infections? Did she have like a
diabetes,
diagnosis?
diabetes,
Diabetes as well.
mainly diabetes. It's just complications of diabetes.
And then what happened after your wife passed? How did you?
My daughter's our house is pretty big.
Mhm.
We have one of my daughters lives in a like an apartment that's hooked up to my house.
Mhm.
I'm my granddaughter lives with me in one of the rooms in the house, and my daughter, the mother of my granddaughter, lives in a house right behind my house. Actually, she's the one that bought the property. She signed for it, and then eventually I put my name on it and started paying the payments on it. But we're all a happy family. Yeah,
Yeah. So your granddaughter lives with you.
yeah.
Uh,
She's 14
why is that? Like,
because she lives. My daughter works in Del Sol Hospital,
okay.
X-ray technician, and she works graveyard shift.
Hmm.
So she stayed with me because I take her to school, pick her up after school,
Yeah.
and she needs something. I get it for her.
Hmm.
My daughter is probably asleep during. When my daughter needs granddaughter needs something, my daughter is asleep.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for her, and it's kind of hard for my granddaughter. And then my other daughter, she's a medical assistant, and she also, well, she only works 5 days a week, but still, she's not there. I'm the only one that's there. And when I retired, my great granddaughter was living with us too. But then my granddaughter got moved from El Paso to Austin, and that's where she's at. She brings my great granddaughter to El Paso like twice a year,
Yeah.
for a week or so.
So how is that? Just helping to raise your granddaughters.
How what?
How is it? Is it hard? Is it?
Well, the city of El Paso gives a good retirement.
Hmm.
Okay, I probably have a better retirement than most people get working. And then at the same time, when my son, uh, his insurance, he was still active duty when he died, and he had me and my wife and me, my wife and I, had us both in his insurance. So when he passed, uh, we got an insurance. We got a bunch of money, and well, it seemed like a bunch of money, and we're not suffering for, and I can support my granddaughters.
Hmm.
But I'm thinking. I don't know if you're familiar. What to you? What is a good paying wage?
A good paying wage?
Yeah.
Well, my girlfriend has just started working as a nurse.
Well, the nurse. Okay, that's the
Yeah,
nurse.
but so that's like a good wage. That's like 30 an
Yeah.
hour.
How much?
30 an hour. And
Was
me working.
she could probably get a lot more if she really wanted to.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, she just started. Like, this is her first year. So
Oh,
then
yeah.
after the first year, they give you a
Wait
raise.
about 5 years and see.
Yeah, yeah. But, that's like a really
Because
good
my,
wage.
my daughter's an X-ray technician,
Mhm.
supervisor, and she makes a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And the other one, there's a doctor's assistant, medical assistant. She gets uh, above average the minimum wage, but she's still not that much. But I'm saying, okay, but that's a very hard comparison.
Hmm.
Nurse, but do you, what do your friends? Do you know how much your friends make?
Yeah, so I mean, right now I'm working also as a teaching assistant in Utah,
No,
and that's like 18.
18 an hour,
Yeah, so I
which is
mean,
about how much a year? That comes out to about
not much.
18. It's not. It's like 40. But I'm saying, what I'm thinking is,
Mhm.
I just don't understand what the hell is going on with our economy, because you see what they what wages, people, how much is it? How in the hell can somebody pay $500,000 for a home?
Yeah,
How can they pay $50,000 for a car every other year? I'm not talking, I got an expensive car, but only bought it once in 2018, I think it was, and I still got it.
yeah.
It's a 2015, and I got it in 2018, and I finally paid it off, and I still got it. I take care of it. But you see all these people, how and they see all these houses, and I look at my cousins, and I look at the people that little kids that are growing up. They're not little kids anymore, but they got horses, they got houses, nice houses,
Hmm.
land. How much do they make? I mean, where do they get the money to pay for all that stuff?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it would depend on what they do for a living, but I mean, I can't imagine that there's many jobs that allow you to do that. So
Well, and this is El Paso. I'm talking about El Paso now,
Mhm.
which is nothing
Yeah,
compared to New York,
yeah.
Washington, LA, because over there, that's where the big bucks are.
Mm. Mm. That is a good question.
And they're complaining.
What did they complain about?
Well, they complain about not making enough money.
Mm.
And they're going to shut down our country because of they don't want to pass out the minimum. What is it? The extension for borrowing money or something like that.
Mhm.
But I bet you if they was to cut all their benefits, they would really pass that law.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, so I know we talked about some, you know, negative experiences that you have in some and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But would you like to share some good memories of San Eli? You know, good
Well, Sonata
moments.
is a good town to grow up in.
Yeah, tell me
Uh,
about the city.
yeah, it used to be better
Okay.
because you used to know everybody in Sonata. I don't know everybody in Sonata anymore.
Hmm.
Uh, but at one time, I knew everybody because we went to school together, and we knew their parents and everybody. Uh, so, or they will work for you, or you will work for them. But I thought I really liked growing up in Sonali, and I liked it because we had our principal here in Sonali, Mr. Lacon, LG Lacon. He had a philosophy about teaching in Sonali. He would uh, encourage, or he was very strict about speaking English in school, which I think helped us a lot because we we have a slight accent, but
Hmm.
it's not as bad. Like you don't have an accent,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of accent that we had down here because we grew up speaking English in the school, speak Spanish at home, speak English at school,
Hmm.
and it helped us a lot. And I got my daughters when they were growing up. I told them, why can't we learn Spanish? They said, well, you can learn Spanish on your own, but you're going to learn English first, because when you go to school, all the books that you read are going to be in English. They're not going to be in Spanish.
Yeah.
So you have to learn English. You're going to have to learn how to read books and paragraphs and papers and everything. Everything's English. So I got them to do that, but they don't like me too much for that, because they say that I screwed them up, because especially both of them work in the hospital, and you just about have to know how to speak Spanish, because most of the people that go in there speak Spanish. So, but other than that, I really liked it. The only thing I didn't like about Sonali too much was that we went on a hamburger when I was little, when I was in like 18 years old. We had to go to Clint. That was in years. There used to be a little restaurant down there in Clint. And or you had to go all the way to Isleta High School, where they had a couple of restaurants down there. That's the only bad thing. You want to go to the movies? There used to be a movie theater there in Isleta. Other than that, you had to go all the way downtown.
Yeah.
And then TV, there was only 3, 4, 9. Eventually, we got 12 or 7. And then you had, I saw VCRs come out on color TVs.
Yeah.
What else? Stereos, quadraphonics, quadra sounds, and all that was. And one of the reasons I just want to live longer just to see what else we can come out and see if we go to the moon and Mars and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I don't know. That's the only. Well, I think that's one of the only things that's keeping me here, is trying to see what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Flying cars.
Flying cars, yeah, probably. So you talked a little bit about that, but could you tell me a little more about how you saw the city change as you grew up?
The city changed?
Yeah, things that.
Well,
opened up.
you could see. What I noticed the most is education brought the level of people's mode of living up a little bit,
Mhm.
and they got into better houses, bigger houses, bigger cars, better clothes. Supposedly, if they got all that, they got better food, right? You can see where people are more progressing,
Mhm.
and I'd like to see that. I would have hated to have been here forever waiting for going on Conestoga wagons anywhere. But life got better and better,
Mhm.
and it's still getting better and better, and it's getting to a point where it's getting too good, I think.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm still living in the old times where I think things should cost so much, but they cost so much more.
Mhm.
And for him, you know, when I was a teenager, hamburgers were 35 cents. For $1, you can eat a hamburger, french fries, and a Coke.
Mhm.
Right now, you're lucky if you can buy the Coke.
Yeah.
And all it is watered down ice.
Yeah.
Everything's so expensive. And I can't believe it, how much everything has gone up. Like I said, I'm still living in the old times. So, you see that I can see where it'd be nice to be making $50 an hour, but